One of Australia's best-loved singers, Jimmy Little, is being remembered as a musical pioneer and a quiet advocate for reconciliation.
The 75-year-old died in New South Wales yesterday after many years of ill health. For more, Triple J Mornings presenter Zan Rowe joins us from Sydney. Zan, good morning. And those tributes are flowing thick and fast this morning.
Good morning, Michael. Yeah, it was amazing to see just yesterday afternoon and this morning continuing how many people were touched by Jimmy Little and what he did for not only his own community but the community of Australian songwriters over decades in the industry. He was a pioneer, as you say, being the first Aboriginal to achieve mainstream success in 1964 with his Royal Telephone song. And in the decades that followed, he continued to uphold an amazing career, even having a resurgence in 1999, which is where I actually first heard about Jimmy Little, with that wonderful Messenger record where a whole bunch of legendary Australian artists were covered with that beautifully smooth voice. They called him Gentleman Jim because of the way that he sang, but I think that also the way that he conducted himself. He was just one of the most upstanding, gentlemanly and gentle men that a lot of Australian singers have come across.
Well, let's hear a bit of that beautifully smooth voice now.
I was born on the banks of the Murray. Yorta Yorta is my mother's tribal stand. I'm her son, but my father's name I carry as I walk through this great and ancient land.
A truly terrific voice, a truly terrific musician, and as you touched on earlier, Zan, a truly humble fellow. Despite all the fame that he had, he was very, very down to earth.
Yeah, he really went out of his way to help others wherever he was, not only obviously advancing the causes of reconciliation in a time back in the 60s when the Aboriginal population weren't even recognised legally as citizens. Jimmy was there as a proud member of the Yorta Yorta people, and then continuing throughout his time when he himself suffered kidney disease in 2004 and had to have a kidney transplant. Instead of taking the time he needed to recover and focus on his own health, he saw it as an opportunity to highlight the plight of many Aboriginal Australians who were also not getting the treatment that they deserved, particularly in remote communities, and set up the Jimmy Little Foundation, which specifically dealt with reaching out to people who were possibly a little bit forgotten. So whenever there was something in Jimmy's life that he experienced, he just set about straight away feeding it back into his community, the greater Australian community. He was a truly great Australian.
And you mentioned the tributes. We had people like Jimmy Barnes, Don Walker taking to Twitter and other social media fora yesterday, expressing their love of his music and their hopes that his legacy would live on.
Yeah, I was actually surprised yesterday also watching Twitter about how many young Australian bands and singers had been affected by Jimmy Little as well. Seeing even bands that were quite young in their career in their early 20s, I saw a band by the name of Cameras, a Sydney band, saying yesterday that the lead singer, when he was 12, had met Jimmy Little and he'd said to him, think about music as a box of lollies. You should try one of everything. And he just seemed like one of those guys, almost like, you know, an uncle or a grandpa who would seek you out, give you a piece of advice, help you along your way, and was incredibly supportive no matter who you were.
Zan Rowe from Triple J, thank you very much for summing up Jimmy Little's life for us this morning.
Thanks, Michael.